All right, grab a coin and flip it. We are talking about the 8 versus 9 seeds here in the first round of March Madness. I don't have a clue about these games. Why I'm sending it to you. If you have any trends and angles, I would love to hear them because maybe that'll help make up my mind. As of now, I'm kind of just going based on my gut. But how are you, or what are the trends and angles that you've dug up for us for the 8-9 matchups?
Yeah, this is a bracket busters of all bracket busters. It is a true coin flip game, 8-9. Sometimes the nine's favorite, sometimes the eight's favorite. It seems like the spread's always within 3 points. You get, one of these games wrong, there goes your perfect bracket. So I do have a decent amount of trends here. I'll start off with the Mountain West, which you guys know how I feel about the Mountain West. But without San Diego State, who is the big dog in this conference, who has made multiple Elite Eight runs, Final Four runs, they're in the championship game. What was that, 3 years ago? So without San Diego State, because they win too often, the Mountain West in the last 10 years is 6-29 in tournament games. That's at just 20% of the time they win. We do have one Mountain West team, that is Utah State, who has had a little bit of a run here the last 5 years, making it to the tournament 5 out of 6 years here, but they are just 1-6 in their tournament games. So just one win, one time advancing to the round of 32. And we are seeing a Mountain West team or Mountain West conference that usually has 3-4 teams in it. That just has the sole winner of Utah State. So down conference, Mountain West, not historically good in the conference. There's a decent trend for you. Have another trend as well regarding the ACC, which I've talked about quite a bit, not sold on them. This stat proves that true. In these 8-9 games, when the ACC is there, they're winning at just 30%. That is important because we have Clemson against Iowa. So the historic stat would say fade Clemson there. And like I said, the Big Ten does very well in those 7-10 games. They still do very well in the 8-9 games, not as well, but that should be a decent stat there. And then my final stat is regarding these 8-9 games with a mid-major. A mid-major has made it 17 of 18 years when they're in this 8-9 game to the round of 32. We have two mid-majors here in Utah State and St. Louis. Like I said, I'm not super sold on Utah State, which means St. Louis historically should advance moving forward. So hopefully those stats, again, they're not guarantees, just trying to point you in the right direction in these coin flip games. Can give you a little bit more peace of mind when picking these tricky 8-9s.
Yeah, that I think that helped me a little bit here. So I'll get in the first one where it didn't help me, but Ohio State TCU. My gut tells me TCU, man. 2.5 points you can get with them right now. I'm just not sold on Ohio State. They finished the year fairly hot. They had a huge win against Purdue that probably got them into the tournament in general, and then won, I believe, 1 or 2 conference tournament games before losing their third game of the season to Michigan. But TCU also finished hot. Up until early February, Ohio State didn't even have a quad one win at this point. So I don't know, man. I know they have a really good player in Bruce Thornton. But yeah, my gut's telling me TCU in that game. So unlikely that I'll bet many of these 8-9 games because truly they are basically a coin flip. But gut tells me TCU. I do like Iowa over Clemson, and you kind of gave me the nod there with the ACC's historical performance in these 8-9 games. But we've talked about Iowa, another team that I'm not sold on this year at all, but they do have a lot of shooters. They are a team that if they're hitting their threes in March, they're going to be very hard to stop. And Clemson's just kind of falter. We've seen them up in the rankings, kind of in and out of the back half of the rankings there, but they play in such a weak conference. I mean, it's Duke, it's, North Carolina, I guess, with Caleb Wilson, it's Virginia. But other than that, just not a great conference there. So, if I was cold, they're going to be one of those 3-point shooting teams that gets knocked out early. But I'm going to trust on Iowa here. And like I said, your stat there kind of gave me the go-ahead to lock that one in, like Iowa over Clemson. I actually love Utah State. Love Utah State, a 9 seed that's favored over the 8 seed. Villanova, a team that we've seen win the championship, a team that's here all the time, and a team that, competed in the Big East, although the Big East was just at the end of the day, St. John's and UConn, and Villanova was just good enough to be right behind them. But Utah State really controlled the Mountain West this entire season. A team that, like you said, they've been here before, haven't had quite the success here. But I think this is the best Utah State team in recent history here. I just think there's going to be a lot of public sentiment on Villanova, the 8 seed, getting the 1.5 as the underdog, or probably the plus price on the money line. But I love Utah State. I think, honestly, that might be my favorite play of the tournament, which means Villanova probably wins by 20. And then Georgia St. Louis. This one's tough for me, but I am going to lean with St. Louis here. I do think St. Louis is a really good team. Georgia is so hit and miss. Very tough for me to get a good read on this Georgia team. My fear with St. Louis is I think this could be kind of a trendy underdog team, a team that was up in the top 25 for, the last 2 months or so of the season. And obviously public pays attention to the rankings where, they're not power rated as high as Georgia, but I do think St. Louis can upset Georgia in this game. Again, small upset, but lean St. Louis for that final 8-9 matchup.
Yeah, I am going to go against some of my trends, which I usually rarely do here, but I agree with you. And I hate the Mountain West. I really do. But this Utah State team is very good. And Villanova is mediocre at best. This would be the 9th, 10th best team in the Big Ten. Utah State, I know it's been a down year in the Mountain West, but there was a lot of teams in that top that are just in the bubble that just couldn't quite get it done. And like I said, Utah State, bad history. This is probably their best team in those last 6 years. I like them on the upset, even though the trends all say stay away from the Mountain West here, which means that St. Louis can lose now because a mid-major has advanced in Utah State. I do like Georgia in this game. They're both extremely fast teams. I know St. Louis is going to be very popular with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on their team, the big white boy with the glasses. But Georgia, I think, is just going to be too much firepower on offense. Georgia is a better team playing fast. Like I said, they're both fast teams, so the better team usually wins in that game. I'm going to take Iowa over Clemson, hoping the ACC sucks, and Iowa has Bennett Sturts. And that's all they have. But you only need one guy in March. We've seen it multiple times. You just need one guy to go crazy. Sturts can easily go crazy. He's going to shoot at least 10 threes a game. Could easily make 7 of those. We saw Doug Elder or whatever his name is from St. Peter's. We've seen it with the Oakland guy, Golke. You just need one dude to get hot, and Iowa has that guy. Then Ohio State, TCU, the truest coin flip game of the entire bracket here. TCU is some very impressive wins. They beat Florida. They beat Wisconsin. They took Michigan or lost to Michigan by 4. They beat Iowa State. They beat Texas Tech. They beat Cincinnati. This team can do it. Ohio State has shown a little bit of hope down the stretch of the season. I know they have a couple big wins there. They beat Purdue, they beat Indiana, they beat Iowa, they beat Wisconsin back in mid-February. So they have had some decent wins. But I've been riding TCU all year. This team just plays with so much heart. I'm going to have to go against my Big Ten here, and I'm going to take TCU to advance. But, I hate to say it, but I really do like Utah State as much as I hate the Mountain West. That Ohio State TCU game, Georgia St. Louis are kind of coin flip games here, but really like Iowa as well as that 9 seed. So, again, true coin flip games. If you win all 4 of your 8-9 games, you should be sitting pretty well in your bracket challenge round 1. So hopefully this helped you guys pick a little bit safer, and hopefully our predictions are right.
Yeah, one historical angle that I forgot to mention is that historically for me, my bracket has been busted like 5 of the last 6 years, I think, after game 1.
Yep.
Which is Ohio State TCU, of course, the game that I've given the most thought and look at. And in my bracket, I do have TCU. So for what that's worth, might want to fade me there. But Wyatt, closing thoughts before we get out of here?
So you're saying we're due. We're due for a hot
We're
start.
so due. Although I think last year was the year that I got the monkey off my back. So I'll have to go back and look. But I was going to say 6 straight years. And I'm like, well, I think I might have won it last year. But yeah, not good historically.
TCU's my baby. I'm just going to keep trusting them here.
Yep, I'm with you. They play tough. But, guys, that will wrap it for all of our first-round seeding videos. We do have everything except for 2 versus 15 and 1 versus 16. Just not a ton to go on for those seedings. But check out all of our other predictions on our page. We really appreciate you guys watching. If you enjoy this content, hit that subscribe button for us. Smash that like button on all the videos. We really, really appreciate that. And leave us a comment as well. Let us know your thoughts on the individual games that you're looking at betting. But again, we thank you so much for watching. Until next time, we'll see you for another episode brought to you by Better and Green.
Welcome to Better and Green, eh? To Better and Green, eh? To Better and Green, eh? Listen in and cash out, that's what it's all about. Come on, let's make cash now. We always on spot and we cover all spot from the bottom to the top, hey. Shout out to Ethan, shout out to Wyatt, shout out to Ben. Welcome to our podcast, Better and Green.